Parshat Chayei Sara has really two major themes in it. The first being the death of Sara Imenu, the acquisition of the Maris Machpelah to bury Sara Imenu. And the second part of the parsha is Eliezer being sent to find the appropriate wife for Yitzchak Avinu, and the story of Rivka Imenu by the well, providing him with water, and the marriage of Yitzchak Avinu and Rivka Imenu. The transition pasuk between the first story and the second, it's the pasuk that I like to try to examine together and to try to understand the lessons we can learn for our lives. Very famous pasuk. It's a pasuk, Minhag Yisrael, to say after Hallel on Rosh Chodesh, V'Avraham zakein ba b'yamim v'Hashem beirach et Avraham bakol. Now Avraham was old, well on in years, and Hashem had blessed Avraham with everything. There are two questions that I'd like to ask. The first is, the beginning pasuk of a section, this is not found at the end of the previous section, but rather the beginning of the story of Eliezer being sworn to be faithful to the mission of finding a wife. So this has to be somehow very much related to the story of Yitzchak Avinu getting married. And that's our first question is, how is this pasuk that Avraham Avinu was Zakein Ba Bayamim, Hashem Beirach et Avraham Bakol, connected to the story of the Shirach? The second question we need to understand is what the pasuk itself means. Avraham zakein ba bayamim. What's the idea of being a zakein, someone old? Why do we need both zakein, old, and ba bayamim, coming of days? What indeed does ba bayamim, coming of days, mean? And what is this concept of Hashem beirach et Avraham bakol, and Hashem blessed Avraham with everything? Well, what does everything mean? Now, obviously, as we've said all the time, there's a lot of Torah on all of these ideas. We're just picking and choosing, and in no way is this a comprehensive study. I'd like to try to understand the connection of this pasuk to the rest of the parak on three levels. And in each level to look at, the first level to look at the first phrase, V'Avraham zakein ba bayamim. The second level to look at the phrase, V'Hashem beirach et Avraham bakol. And on the third level, to look at the pasuk in its entirety and how it relates to the end of the parak. So, on perhaps the most technical and simple level, although nothing is simple, says the Ramban in source 2, God had given Avram everything: riches, possessions, honor, longevity, and children. The one thing he lacked was to see his son have children to inherit his status and honor. Or in the language of Rav Hirsch, in source number 3, his life work was completed. He had no more aspirations or ambitions for himself. Now his sole concern was for his son and for his prosperity. So here you find that once Avraham Avinu reached this pinnacle of his lifetime, once Avraham Avinu reached this point of having everything he needed, the question now was, how are we going to see a continuity? And therefore the Chumash continues with Avraham Avinu ensuring that Yitzchak Avinu would get married and there would be the continuity of Klal Yisrael. Let's try to understand on this first level, what does it mean that Avraham was Zakein ba Bayamim? So here Rav Hirsch gives us a fascinating insight. Rav Hirsch, who deals with the grammar and deals with linguistics, this is absolutely precious. He says zakein in source 3, as we have explained earlier. This root, which is related to sakein, and zin denotes one who has become wise through the experience of life, as opposed to a nar, linaer, who shakes off impressions, does not absorb impressions permanently, does not learn from life, but seeks to shape his world out of himself. A zakein is one who's able to take his life experiences and allow it to change him, allow it to transform him, allow it to become part of him. A nar is somebody who tries to shed away and get rid of and try to create his own impressions of life. Avraham Avinu was a zakein. He was somebody who was able to learn from life experience. Chazal tell us, zakein is zeh shekana chachma, one who acquires wisdom. Avraham Avinu had this ability to acquire wisdom. How did he acquire this wisdom? That's the next phrase. He was ba bayamim, coming of days. What is this idea of Ba Bayamim? So here the Balei Musar have a lot of Torah on what this Ba Bayamim means, and I'd like to examine and explore some of these ideas of Yirtzeh Hashem together now. And I think the relevancy for every moment of our lives is self-explanatory. The Lev Shalom, Rav Shvadron, quotes the idea of Rav Elia Lopian Zatzal, who says, it's brought in the Zohar Kadosh, Shekol Yom Ba Lifnei Adam B'Tchilas Hayom. This imagery is very powerful. It's as if Ba Bayamim literally means comes of days. It's as if, says the Zohar Kadosh, every day comes at the beginning of the day, Umivakesh Mimenu Shelo Yifgo Moto. And it's as if the day, when you wake up in the morning, the day like hits you in the face almost, and the day stands there in front of you and says, please do me a favor, don't ruin me today.